Good morning, everyone. Your coolest teacher is back to explain you the new chapter meeting Cézanne. It was written by Sir Michael Morpurgo, who has written many stories, poems, and act play for children, especially for children, which has also later turned into many movies, which even I don't know because I haven't seen any of them. And he was also awarded with children's something laureate. I don't remember anymore. I have read it, but I've forgotten it. Let it be. We'll check it out later. From 2002 to 2003 to 2005. So in this story, there's a child named Yannick who wanted to meet the world's most famous painter Cézanne, whose complete name was Paul Cézanne. So the narrator Yannick, he was a 12-year-old boy. During the summer vacation, he visited his uncle and aunt who lives in Provence. He always admired Provence mostly for his countryside because he always wanted to visit the countryside. Countryside in the sense rural area of a country. Back then it was set around like 1800s or not 1800s, around like 1900s or something. So back then it was less pollution, a lot of hills, greeneries. So Yannick, he wants to experience the countryside, which he has never seen with his real eyes, but he has only seen them in his mother's book. Beside the countryside, the another thing he wants to see was the famous painter Cézanne, who lived near the Provence. His Uncle Bruno, he ran, sorry, my bad. He ran a small hotel or restaurant in the village named as Village Inn. Usually it wasn't much busy. People used to come, have their meal, and they used to leave. But one day it was really busy, and he doesn't know why. But he had heard that a famous person is arriving over there with some of his friends. So he asks his cousin Amandine, then what's this rush about? But Amandine, she is completely busy with arranging everything properly because she believed that if everything is well arranged properly, the famous person who is arriving with his friends, he will really like it. So he asked, so narrate. So Yannick asked his cousin that who is this famous person and what is he famous for? Cousin Amandine, she says that he lives in a chateau, but she does not reply that what is he famous for. All he said that you keep on asking questions and questions. It's better you do some work. Go get the logs for the fireplace. Yannick, Yannick, he leaves and gets some wooden logs for the fireplace. Soon after that, famous painter arrives with his friends. That man, he was very old and he had very less hairs. He sat on a table with his friends, and later Yannick served him his famous creme brulee, which he knows which he knows properly how to make it, and he served it to the famous person. The famous person, he really liked that creme brulee and drew something on the tablecloth. He left with his friends, and then as a guest leaves or as a customer leaves, everyone who's working at Uncle Bruno's village inn, they start cleaning the table. Even today, as the famous person left, Yannick cleaned the same table. He cleaned the same table, took all the used vessels and put them in the sink, and he took all the used tissue paper and tablecloth and put them in the fireplace. As he put that tablecloth in the fireplace, Amandine, she rushed towards the fireplace, picked up tongs. Tongs are nothing but, in Hindi we call it as चिमटा. जो घर में हमारी मदर रोटियां पलटने के लिए यूज़ करती हैं, उसे इंग्लिश में कहते हैं tongs. Amanda, she picked up the tongs and started to take the same tablecloth out of the fireplace, but it was really too late. By the time she could arrive, the paper was already burnt into pieces. All left was remnants. Amandine, she turned furious, really furious, and started screaming at Yannick that, are you a fool? Why did you throw the tablecloth into the fireplace? Don't you have any mind? Whereas Yannick, he was completely confused because he has no idea why Amandine is yelling at him. Then Amandine explains that it was that tablecloth. The famous person was a famous painter. He a, drew a painting on the tablecloth as a tip for my father, because whenever he likes a dish, he draws something for the chef. And watching as she kept yelling at Yannick, everyone in the रेस्टोरेंट स्टॉप्स ईटिंग एंड स्टेयर्स एट देम. अब हम लोग इंसान हैं, हम लोगों को पता है लड़ाई होती है, हम लोग सबसे पहले वहाँ पे जाते हैं. तो ये तो उस वक्त की बात है जब टीवीज़ भी उतनी नहीं हुआ करती थी, रेडियोज़ हुआ करते थे. तो यहाँ पे ये लोग लड़ने लगे और खाने के बीच, और खाना खा रहे थे और साथ में दिख गया इन लोगों को ये लड़ाई, खाने के साथ इंटरटेनमेंट. जैसे सास बहू सीरियल्स में लड़ते हैं, यहाँ पे ये लोग रियल में लड़ रहे थे. ये देख के लोग अपना खाना रोक के इनको देखने लग जाते हैं. At the same moment, Uncle Bruno, he listens to their conversation and he rushes towards them, and he was not jolly as he used to be. He was completely pissed at their behavior. He steps in between them and stops them fighting. And then he asks, "What's the matter? That why are they fighting?" Then Amandine, she explains that he has threw the tablecloth into the fireplace, which the famous painter has drawn a painting on it. Uncle Bruno, he asked Amandine, did you inform Yannick that a famous painter is going to arrive? Did you tell him that he used to draw something on the tablecloth if he likes the food? Amandine, she looks at Yannick, and then he looks at Uncle Bruno again, and she looks at Yannick. At that moment, Yannick, he was a little scared, क्योंकि हम लोग को पता है जब दो भाई बहन लड़ते हैं तो एक दूसरे आपस में दोनों जन एक दूसरे को ब्लेम करने लग जाते हैं, क्यों, जिससे मार कम पड़े. कहते हैं कि इसने किया उसने किया. यहाँ पे भी यानिक को वही लग रहा था कि अमेंडीन उसके ऊपर ब्लेम कर देगी, बट एक्चुअली अमेंडीन, she did not blame it on Yannick. She answered it truthfully. She said that no, I haven't told Yannick that who is visiting us. Amandine answers it truthfully. She says that no, I haven't informed him anything about the arrival of the famous painter. All I have told him that a famous person is going to arrive. Then Uncle Bruno comforts Amandine. He says that then you cannot blame it on Yannick, as he has barely no idea about the famous painter or what he does when he likes the food. So you cannot blame it on Yannick. Now apologize to him. Amandine apologizes to Yannick and then she leaves. Then Uncle Bruno, he comforts Yannick, saying that that famous painter drew it for the chef, and as you have cooked your creme brulee for him, that painting was for you, and now it's completely your choice, it's completely your decision whether you have to keep that painting or throw it in the fireplace. And you have thrown it in the fireplace, so that's not an issue, but at least you will remember that you held something really valuable in your hand, something which was given by a really famous person and most important person. And then Yannick leaves. As he was coming out of the bathroom, he notices his sister Amandine crying. He feels really guilty that because of him, a famous painter's painting is burnt, which was a gift, which was a tip for Uncle Bruno. He goes to Amandine and he accepts his mistake that he should have asked a little more. But then Amandine explains that it was completely her fault. She should have informed him earlier. But she wasn't crying because she did not explain it to Yannick. She was crying because Uncle Bruno, her father, he has never been so angry at her. She has been sometime, but not this angry. Yeah, he yelled at her once or twice because she made some mistake, but this time he yelled at her in front of a lot of people. जैसे हम लोगों को पता है कि हाँ, हमारे पेरेंट्स मारते हैं हमको, डांटते हैं हमको, हाँ चलता है, कोई तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम कब होती है जब पब्लिक में हम लोगों को डांटा या मारा जाता है हमारी गलती के लिए. तब हम लोगों को थोड़ा अंदर से एम्बैरसमेंट फील होता है कि हमारे पेरेंट्स ने इतने सब लोगों के सामने हमें मारा या डांटा. वो भले रिलेटिव्स हों या स्ट्रेंजर्स, हम लोगों को अंदर से बुरा लगता है, थोड़ी एम्बेरसमेंट फील होती है। सेम चीज़ अमेंडीन को यहाँ पे फील हो रही थी, दैट हर फादर ब्रूनो ही हैज़ येल्ड एट हर इन फ्रंट ऑफ a lot of people. Then Amandine apologizes for her mistake that she should have explained, and Yannick was still feeling guilty and so regretful, and he leaves to his bedroom. Later that night, Yannick couldn't sleep as he was feeling guilty. He wants to make up for his mistake and want to make Uncle Bruno and especially Amandine happy. So he plans that what he has to do in the morning. He planned everything, and the next morning he skips his morning walk. He did not go for his morning walk to the hill. Instead, he headed to the chateau. Chateau where the famous painter was living. So he walks towards the village, other end of the village, towards the chateau, and he waits at the gate. As the famous painter has arrived, everyone in the village, sorry, almost everyone in the village has visited chateau. And as everyone was leaving, he waited outside the gates until it was completely vacant. The chateau, it was completely surrounded by trees. So Yannick, he climbed the gates easily and walked towards the chateau. As chateau was completely surrounded by trees, it looked like a farmhouse or a small house in the forest. It was completely dense forest, and after a small walk through the food, after a small walk through the woods, he notices a small old man sitting near the porch under the sunlight and painting something on a canvas. He thought to be as quiet as possible in the woods, but he accidentally crushed a twig under his foot, and that twig made a cribbing sound which was enough to grab the attention of the old man. The old man, who was sitting alone and sketching something on the canvas, notices Yannick, who was standing in the woods. So he was a little worried that why a young boy, is standing alone in the woods. So he calls Yannick that, hey boy, come over here. What are you doing alone in the woods? Yannick walks towards the old man and looks he looks that this old man is really old with less hairs, and he is the same man who visited the inn village in yesterday. So Yannick asks the old man, are you the famous painter Cézanne? Are you the famous painter Cézanne? Old man, he was slightly confused that why is he calling me Cézanne, but before he could answer it, Yannick says that Yannick said, my mother told me that you are the greatest painter in the world. The old man, he smiles and he answers, well, it looks like your mother is a wise woman. She knows it. She knows it. She knows it right. Then Yannick explains, sorry, my bad. I got off the pace. Then the old man says that, well, your mother looks like a wise woman. She knows everything. But I wonder why would she send such a young boy alone in the woods to look after me? Oh crap, my bad. Sorry for the inconvenience. Let me just stick my cap over here. So, the old man, he says that, well, your mother looks like a wise woman. She knows everything, but I wonder why would she send such a young man alone in the woods to look after me? Then Yannick explains everything what happened yesterday. Then the old man remembers that Yannick is the same young boy who served him the creme brulee. And he accepts to make another painting for Uncle Bruno. But then he says that, why should I make another painting for Bruno which I make all the time for him? This time you have come to me, I will make a painting for you. So what would you like me to make a painting? What would you like me to make for you? Then Yannick, he thinks for a while that what should I ask him to draw? Then he says that I like boats, especially sailing boats. And Yannick starts describing the picture. The old man asks, what should be the background? Yannick says it should be Paris. The old man replies that I really love Paris. I always wanted to visit Paris. Then the old man starts sketching on the canvas and draws exactly what Yannick has asked him to draw. Then, yeah, then the old man he shows the picture to the Yannick. Yannick he looks at the painting and he was completely mesmerized by it because it was exactly what he was imagining. A lighthouse in the Brittany. Everything similar. The image in his mind is now completely on the canvas. Then he noticed the signature under the painting, bottom of the page, that it was written as Picasso. Now the Yannick is confused again and he asks the old man, I thought you are the famous painter Cézanne. The old man smiles and then he answers, oh, I wish I was. And then he takes the canvas out of the stand and hands it to Yannick, saying that off you go. And I hope you wonder why did he say I wish I was? Actually, in the real life, Paul Cézanne, he is the teacher of Paolo Picasso. Paolo Picasso, he is the world's greatest painter, and his teacher was Paul Cézanne, or you can call it as Cézanne. So he always admired his teacher and he always wanted to become like his teacher, but he wasn't able to. That's why he said, oh, I wish I was. Then he hands his painting to the Yannick and then he leaves. So that's the end of the story. And in this story, they haven't explained or they haven't told us that whether Yannick was able to meet famous painter Cézanne or he just stopped at the Picasso. He takes the painting and he leaves. That's the end of the video, and if you like it, please subscribe to my channel, like, give your honest comment or any feedback, or if you have any doubts regarding the explanation, you can just pinch me on my Instagram, which I have already mentioned in the description below. Thank you, have fun, enjoy your holidays, meet you when the school reopens.